I was chasing success, and success was hurting me. 10 years ago, I said, you know, I've accomplished a lot, but I still feel like a failure. When I was chasing success, it was all about me. But when I go after greatness, it's about we. It's about doing it with other people. It's about impacting other people in a positive way.
Today, we talk about starting your healing journey with the host of the School of Greatness, New York Times best-selling author, Lewis Howes, an absolute incredible person and a great friend who has blessed his presence onto this podcast to talk about the start of his healing journey and how you can start yours. For me, this came at the perfect time because I am embarking on my own healing journey right now. There is a point in your life where something may be blocking you and you don't even realize it, and you need this awareness, but then you also need to figure out how to get rid of it, how to get it out your system so you can prosper and become extremely successful in your life. That's exactly what this video is about. Today's video was sponsored by Mulliganbrothers.com, where you can get the Black Friday sale on buy one, get one free across everything on the store using code BLACK at checkout. Thank you for supporting us. Let's dive into the video. In terms of a childhood, there's a lot of trauma there, very difficult childhood. And now, you know, you're in this position where you're extremely successful, you've got a lot of growth, and you can look back now and, you know, you've obviously used some of those moments. But in the moment of being that child, was there something within your makeup that just made you want to be great, made you want to perform, be great at sports, do well in school? Or was it the fact that you was in this difficult situation?
I think it was, my brother was an extremely talented violinist. He was under 18 in the US, he was one of the top classical violinists in the country. He would win all the competitions, national awards, all this. So he was a child prodigy. And I grew up watching him perform and be celebrated for this talent, right? And he was a freak of nature and still is today on the violin. And then when he went to prison, he joined the prison band and he became a master at jazz violin. And now he's the #1 jazz violinist in the world. So I watched my brother with this incredible talent develop it and succeed before prison, in prison, and then after prison. My father was extremely talented. He was extremely smart. He was successful in his business later in his career. And he was extremely talented opera singer. So he had these gifts and this ability as well in different areas of life. You know, and when you look up to my older sisters, like they were talented in their own skills and their own ways. And so I was like, okay, what's my gift? What's my talent? I suck in school. I feel like no one wants to hang out with me. You know, I'm not a cool kid. Where is my gift? Where is my ability that I can find meaning in? And what can I develop? And that's why sports became a thing where I was like, oh, okay, I want to be someone greater than I am right now. I don't feel enough in school. I don't feel enough with peers. You know, I'm getting made fun of and picked on for my abilities in school. My siblings don't want to hang out with me because they're older and they're living their lives. And so I just felt alone. And I really wanted to develop a skill where I was seen and where I felt like valued. I had another moment when I was in elementary school where I was picked last on a dodgeball, in a dodgeball game. Our classmates all went out to recess and the teacher picked 2 captains. And he said, okay, I want you guys to pick, you know, one person at a time for your team. We're gonna do a dodgeball game. So 2 teams playing dodgeball. And I remember it was 2 boys who were picking. And they went one by one and picked all the boys in the class to be on their team, right? One by one. And then I was the last boy. And they skipped me and they started picking all the girls, one by one by one. And so they picked all the girls and then I was the last pick. And I remember this moment vividly being like, how am I not even the last pick for the boys? Like I'm not even good enough. I'm weaker than all the girls and they're choosing me last of everyone. And I remember thinking to myself like, that's how people view me. They view me as weak. They view me as not good enough. They view me as not valuable based on results, based on where I was in my life. Or they were just trying to pick on me, either one. But that was feedback for me. And I remember thinking to myself, never again will I be picked last from that moment on. So there was definitely an anger and a pain and a wound that drove me to say never again. And I remember from that moment on, I was just training in the gym, playing basketball after school every day, playing any sport I could until I couldn't work out anymore, until my mom would come and drag me home at like 10 o'clock at night. I was just practicing and playing games all the time because I was like, never again will I be picked last. And I developed a character inside of myself, an identity of being the best athlete I can be at every sport that I played, so that I was always valuable on every team. And that got me a lot of results, that got me a lot of success. In high school, I became successful. In college, professionally, USA handball team, it drove me to achieve. But being driven by anger and not enough can only get you so far. It helped me succeed a lot, but it didn't help me feel like I was really fulfilled. And it was never enough. I would achieve all the goals that I wanted to achieve in sports, but I would be depressed and unhappy right after I'd achieve them. And I would ask myself, why? I just accomplished a goal that I had for 10 years. I put all this work into it. Why am I unhappy now? Why am I still suffering? And it's because I was driven by a wound as opposed to driven by a purpose, a meaningful mission, something that was more fulfilling than just trying to look good and fit in. And again, that drive got me out of that place. It got me into being more talented and gifted, but I needed to shift my mindset around how I was driven eventually, otherwise I would always suffer. And so about 10 years ago, I realized I was chasing success and success was hurting me. And I wanted to say, what is the difference between success and greatness? When I was chasing success, it was all about me. But when I go after greatness, it's about we. It's about doing it with other people. It's about impacting other people in a positive way. Not about how I can look good, how I can win at all costs, how I can be right, be number one, which was my entire life in sports and then in business. And that translates in relationships, which is why my relationships suffered. And so 10 years ago, I said, I've accomplished a lot, but I still feel like a failure. Something needs to change. And I'm the common denominator. So I started to really take a look at my life and the way I was viewing life and how I was showing up in life. And that's when I started to do the healing work. The healing journey began. It's when I started to open up about sexual abuse for the first time. It's when I started to address the things that really caused me pain from my childhood or from previous relationships, because growing up in a small town in Ohio as a man in the 80s and 90s, I was never allowed to express my emotions or feelings in a healthy, conscious way. If I showed any weakness, any sadness, any tears, I was picked on and made fun of. I don't know if that was the same way for you growing up in the UK, but you weren't allowed to express yourself vulnerably. You just had to toughen it up. And I took on that persona, that mask of like, I'm gonna be able to do anything harder than anyone else, and I'm not gonna show emotion. But the more I bottled that up, the more anger came out in other ways. The more frustration, resentment, and anger would release in other ways because I wasn't able to release other emotions. So that was the only emotion that I had. And it hurt me and it hurt other people. And when I started to heal and open up the things inside of me and process them and transform them into love and acceptance and grieve things from the past and really accept the little boy inside of me who dealt with all of those pains, all those traumas, all that loss, all that sadness, all that loneliness, when I was able to reconnect with the little boy inside me, the inner child inside me, and start to mend that psychological relationship and have a different meaning about the past, a different story about the past, not a victim story or a sad story, but a story of overcoming things, of interpreting things in a different way. That's when 10 years ago, everything started to shift and transform. And it doesn't mean it's all been perfect and easy. It's just I'm more aware of my emotions and how to respond in situations. I'm more in tune and aligned to the vision I have, that is to serve, rather than the vision of being successful. Because when I try to be successful, I'm never fulfilled and happy. But when I'm in service of other people, when I'm in service of my gifts and talents, when I'm in service of a mission, good things always happen in return. And that's been the journey.
Thank you so much to Lewis for doing this with us. We got to see an inner workings of the School of Greatness. As you can see, we were on the actual set recording this, which inspired me massively. And look, we are pushing forward with Mulligan Brothers harder than ever into 2024. We have some massive interviews coming up, some from your favorite guests back on the show. So subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. And if you are at the start of your healing journey, remember, it's all about awareness. Understand where the pain is coming from. Figure out where you are burying it, and then you can work on it, unlock it, release it, talk to somebody, cry about it if you have to. If you're a strong man and you don't want to cry, trust me, it's okay. It's fine to do that. It's fine to open up to your male friends and tell them how you're feeling. Nobody's going to laugh at you. So yeah, I recommend listening to these podcasts, reading Lewis's book. Another great book is Owen McManus's book, Mind Shift, is a great book. There's tons of great books around it. But the point is if you're actively working on it, it will all come out. It will happen. Just be patient, keep working on yourself. And I promise you this, it will be rewarding. It's not going to be easy, but it will be rewarding. Thank you so much for joining us on my journey. Thank you for being a part of your own journey and helping inspire the other people around you as well. Today's video, as always, was sponsored by Mulliganbrothers.com, where it's buy one, get one free across everything on the website, from the journals to the posters to the t-shirts and the hoodies. Just use code BLACK for Black Friday at the checkout and you'll get buy one, get one free. Thank you so much for supporting us. Hit the notification bell and the subscription button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.